Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to decode the fascinating and honestly sometimes crazy mechanics of financial markets. Every single day, literally trillions of dollars move through a system that most people use without truly understanding how it works under the hood. You might think it's all just spreadsheets and cold, hard algorithms. But today, we're going to reveal how those massive sums of money are actually driven not just by rigid math, but by the wild, totally unpredictable engine of human emotion.
So let's just dive right into the big question that sits at the very heart of all finance. Why do stock prices move up and down every single second? To answer this, we really have to contrast the rigid, mathematical structure of financial instruments with the highly volatile reality of human psychology. It's essentially a massive collision between what is exactly written on paper and what people are feeling in their gut.
Section 1. The market meeting place. To really understand the psychology here, we have to strip away all that intimidating Wall Street jargon. At its core, a financial market is just a meeting point for companies or governments needing money and investors who happen to have it. But there is a super important distinction you need to keep in mind, and that's the primary market versus the secondary market. In the primary market, a security is born. Think of a company's initial public offering, or IPO. The company sells shares and they get that cash directly to, build factories or hire new staff. But the secondary market, well, that's the app on your phone. In the secondary market, investors are literally just trading existing ownership with each other like a hot potato. The company itself is getting absolutely no new money from those daily trades.
Section 2. Stocks and the power of belief.
So what actually is a stock? Also known as equity or a share, a stock represents the foundational mathematical side of ownership. Think of a big company as a giant pizza. If that company issues 1 million shares and you buy 1,000 of them, you literally own a mathematical 0.1% slice of that corporate pizza. That's it. That is the entire fundamental concept of a stock. You are a partial owner of that business.
And as an owner holding that slice, you are basically chasing two mathematical ways to build wealth. First up is capital appreciation. If the company grows and becomes way more valuable, other investors are going to want a piece of it, right? So the share price rises and you can sell your slice for a lot more than you paid. Second is dividends. Some really established companies, think Coca-Cola or Johnson & Johnson, actually share their profits directly with you. They pay out a small amount of cash per share, usually every quarter.
But here is the major plot twist of our explainer. Despite all that concrete math, stock prices don't actually move day to day because of some rigid formula. They move because of collective belief. This right here is where human emotion completely takes the wheel.
So, the absolute crucial takeaway is that a stock price at any given second is simply the market's live guess at what a company is worth. If enough investors feel optimistic about a company's future, they buy and they push the price up. If they get scared, they panic sell and the price drops. That current price flashing in green or red on your screen is literally nothing more than a real-time emotional consensus of the crowd.
Section 3. Bonds and the price of safety.
Now, to truly grasp the absolute chaos of stock psychology, we have to contrast it with something entirely different. If a stock subjects you to the emotional whims of the crowd, a bond makes you a lender operating in a world of strict math. It is the ultimate safety asset that investors run to when fear takes over. When you buy a bond, you are loaning money out, and your return is determined by 3 very rigid steps. Step 1, the face value. Let's say $1,000, which is what you get back at the very end. Step 2, the coupon rate, maybe 5%, which is your annual interest payment. And step 3, the maturity, like 10 years, which is the exact time frame when your loan is fully repaid. It is straightforward, highly predictable income.
But wait, here is a twist that catches a lot of beginners totally off guard when they look at bonds on the secondary market. Bond prices actually operate on a seesaw mechanism with interest rates. Imagine you hold that bond paying a 5% coupon rate. If central banks suddenly raise overall interest rates in the economy and brand new bonds start offering 7%, well, suddenly your older 5% bond looks kind of terrible by comparison, right? If you want to sell it to someone else, you have to lower its tradable price to make up that difference. So when overall rates go up, the price of your existing bond absolutely must fall.
Section 4. The risk versus return trade-off.
Every single investor out there has to navigate a fundamental choice between two very different realities. On one side, you have stocks. They offer much higher long-term return potential, but they're entirely driven by collective belief, making their volatility super high and offering absolutely no guarantees of safety if a company goes under. On the other side, you've got bonds. They offer lower long-term returns, but they are driven by fixed contracts, providing incredibly stable, mathematically predictable income. You basically have to choose between the wild ride of human sentiment and the boring but safe mathematical reality.
And because going all in on just one of those sides is incredibly dangerous. I mean, inflation can easily eat away the purchasing power of your safe bonds, and failing companies can wipe out your stock investments overnight. This is exactly why any good financial advisor is going to tell you to blend the two. And that brings us to diversification. It's simply the strategy of mixing stocks for growth and bonds for stability, carefully blended based on your own personal risk tolerance and exactly when you plan to actually need the money.
Section 5. Supply, Demand, and Price. Okay, so how does this epic battle between mathematical valuation and collective belief actually set a price, second by second? Well, it all boils down to the matching engines of supply and demand. Think of major exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ as giant matchmakers. Millions of times a day, they are actively matching the supply, investors placing orders to sell or offload shares, with the demand, investors placing orders to buy at certain specific prices.
This constant rapid-fire back and forth is always seeking one thing: an equilibrium price. That's the exact price point where buyer demand perfectly matches seller supply. If more people are feeling super optimistic and want to buy, the exchange ticks the price up to tempt sellers into parting with their shares. If fear sets in and everyone wants to sell, the price ticks down to entice buyers back into the game. That flickering ticker you see on the news, that is literally the live beating pulse of supply and demand finding equilibrium.
And you know what's really wild? This core psychology doesn't just stop at company stocks. It is a universal truth across all of finance. Whether you are looking at the foreign exchange market where global currencies are traded, or commodities markets dealing in physical goods like barrels of oil, heavy bars of gold, or bushels of wheat, prices absolutely everywhere are set by this exact same meeting of buyers, sellers, and their collective belief about the future. I want to leave you with this final, slightly provocative thought to chew on today. We've seen that the market is essentially a meeting place fundamentally driven by human psychology and collective belief. So, if stock prices are really just a live guess made by millions of emotional people, how much are your own financial decisions just being shaped by the crowd's emotion? Now that you know the truth behind the mechanics, how are you going to view those changing red and green numbers on your screen tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helped make the complex, sometimes crazy world of financial markets finally click for you.